So this Friday is the start of the 2020 WWE Draft. It will continue into Monday Night Raw the following week, kind of like what they did last year. So today we're going to talk about our predictions and what we think is going to happen. I don't think it's going to be as big of a draft as last year's, where they had the Fiend being drafted and Brock Lesnar and Seth Rollins and all these huge names, like the world titles swapped, and it was like a whole thing. I don't think it's going to be as dramatic as last year, but it'll be nice to change the rosters up. So I think we're going to start off with Friday Night Smackdown, since that will be the first night of the draft. So my first big pick is Randy Orton to SmackDown, because I think after his feud with Drew McIntyre, what is left for him to do on Raw? Who is he left to feud with? But on SmackDown, he can do plenty of things. He can feud with Big E, build Big E up as a big single star, give him a win over Randy Orton. They could even do something with Randy Orton and The Fiend, depending on what they want to do with The Fiend, if he's a face, if he's a heel, I'm not exactly sure. And eventually, I guess Edge will eventually come back, and that will be his WrestleMania match. So it makes sense. So Randy Orton's my big pick. What do you think about Randy Orton coming to SmackDown?
Honestly, I don't know. I don't think they were gonna draft him to SmackDown.
Really?
I think they're gonna keep him on Raw. If the plan is to keep the title on Drew, then maybe like, okay, I could see him going to SmackDown. But at this point, I don't know.
You really think they're gonna give Randy the title?
Okay, so like fast forwarding a little bit, because I personally don't think there's going to be anything really crazy with this draft. I personally think it's only going to be the tag team divisions and the women divisions really switched up.
I don't.
I think Braun Strowman's going to Raw. But like, let's say if Drew McIntyre keeps the title, right, and then he fights Braun, who does he fight after that?
Well, that's something we can discuss a bit later on, but I just want to get a few of these other names out there for SmackDown, and then we could talk about Raw. So I actually put Apollo Crews, Ricochet, giving them a tag team, because, like you said, the tag team division on both brands is really weak, so they really do need to build up new tag teams, and there's really nothing else for Ricochet and Apollo to do.
What about Street Profits?
I don't think the Street Profits are getting drafted if they're the champions. I don't think they're going to draft the Raw champions to SmackDown. I don't know how that would work.
I think they're going to drop the titles
to Angel and Andrade.
I think so, yeah.
I would be shocked if that happened.
Either whoever loses that match is getting drafted. There's no way they're staying on that show.
Oh, I agree, and that's also why I put Apollo and Ricochet on, because they all they're doing is feuding with the Hurt Business, right? So keep them away from that, because we've had that feud for months with Apollo and Bobby Lashley and MVP. It's time to move on from that, and I think that's the reason why they're going to SmackDown. And I do agree that there's probably going to be another team, probably Angel and Andrade, but they're also like building a split up between the two. So I'm not sure exactly what's going to happen with that.
Even if they were doing a build to a split, I mean, I get personally, like I said, I think the Street Profits are going to SmackDown just because I feel like they're kind of old on Raw. But let's say they even go there, I still think they could do the split. But how do I put it? Raw's mid-card is so weak, I feel like they got to stay there. So rather than drafting them, Street Profits will go to SmackDown. That way they can kind of build the tag team division there.
Do you think Kevin Owens is staying on Raw?
Yeah, I don't see why he would go away. I mean, I know they just did this whole thing with The Fiend and Kevin Owens.
Mm-hmm.
But
that might just be a way to spice up the feud with Aleister Black. Like, the whole gimmick of The Fiend is that he changes everyone. Pretty much everyone who wrestles The Fiend turns heel, right? Like, that's pretty much what it is. So I don't know like how that would work, because Aleister just turned heel. What I think would be a cool little reveal is if somehow The Fiend corrupted Aleister Black and that's why he turned heel. But I think that would be a little bit too convoluted for WWE. Like, they wouldn't really go that far. But that would be interesting, because they did kind of allude to that on the promo that Kevin Owens had with Alexa Bliss, where he was looking for answers. Like, he said, he's trying to figure out why Aleister Black changed, and he's looking at Alexa Bliss because she also changed. So I think they're leaving some breadcrumbs with that, but I'm not sure if they're actually going to fully go through with it. They're really not that smart when it comes to booking.
If that's the case, if they decide to go that route, then yeah, Kevin Owens, it would only make sense for him to go to SmackDown. I don't think Fiend's going to Raw.
No.
I think Fiend is staying on SmackDown.
Yeah, and the thing is with the Fiend, they can keep the Fiend on SmackDown. Because I'm not sure, I have a feeling, and this sounds ridiculous, but I think they might be putting Big E against Roman Reigns at WrestleMania.
No, we're jumping a little ahead, but no, I don't think so.
And
we can get to that after, though.
Yeah, I mean, we can get to that in April when WrestleMania is around.
Yeah. No, I don't think so. I think SmackDown is really only getting new tag teams and maybe Kevin Owens.
I think they're going to get the Riot Squad because there's no women tag team on SmackDown, even though it doesn't really matter because the tag team belt isn't brand exclusive. But, they had Sasha and Bayley. That was their main tag team. And on Raw, you have Nia Jax and Shayna Baszler. I think the Riot Squad is going to go to SmackDown. Also, Zelina Vega and Peyton Royce, I'm also putting for SmackDown.
Yeah, I could see that.
Because Zelina Vega wasn't ready for Asuka, and they need to build her up a little bit more if they really want her to be a serious contender. And then Peyton Royce, obviously, they're really trying to push her, and obviously her and Billie Kay should not be in the same show.
Yeah, no, for sure. Well, again, I think this draft, obviously they have to hype it up because that's what they have to do. I think this is going to be a very, very underwhelming draft.
I think so too. I think people are going to be really disappointed, actually.
Yeah.
What I think would make things more interesting because, I think it's so inconsistent, the way that they've been booking NXT. And I know that has to do with the fact that Vince McMahon doesn't really have anything to do with that show, so he doesn't want to have it, too connected. But, stuff like Keith Lee's girlfriend in Retribution and Dijakovic, they don't even mention it. It's like nothing NXT even matters on the main roster, which I guess makes a little bit of sense. But they were also pretending that NXT was the main roster. It was the third brand. They put NXT over at Survivor Series last year. It seems like a lifetime ago because NXT feels more like an afterthought. It's just a way for them to counter-program AEW than anything else. But you think if they really want to counter-program AEW, they do their best to build up NXT and go as far as to include NXT in the draft, because there are a lot of guys like Ricochet that really should come back to NXT,
Well, here's the question then: is NXT involved in this draft?
No, it's not. It's just SmackDown and Raw.
I think it's dumb. I think it's
a waste
of everyone's time.
I absolutely agree, and I was gonna say that. Oh, maybe the Undisputed Era will finally come up, but they're doing the whole thing with Kyle O'Reilly, and I think the Undisputed Era is gonna implode on NXT. Yeah, and I think right now we just have too many factions on the main roster that we don't really need an Undisputed Era on SmackDown or Raw. You know what I mean?
I don't see. They really should have included NXT because, like you said, you could have thrown Ricochet there. You could have brought someone up. I know Damian Priest has the title, but I mean, unfortunately, given the circumstances, their roster is so thin across all shows.
Yeah.
With Corona, so it's hard, which is why I don't even know why they're doing a draft in the first place. I feel like it's stupid. I think this is just a gigantic waste of time because, realistically speaking, you're not switching like people like AJ Styles and Sami Zayn and Hardy and all these different people. You're not switching these main guys. All you're doing is getting mid-carders and tag teams, at least my opinion, from one pace to another. So I don't think it's worth it.
Well, let's talk a little bit about Raw then, since we spent a lot of time on SmackDown. We already talked about Braun Strowman. That's going to be Raw's big pick. And he is obviously, I think he turned heel, didn't he? With his whole, I believe he turned heel. When he shaved his head and everything. I was so confusing.
He knocked out that fucking dude, and then after that, we haven't seen him since. So who the fuck knows, honestly?
Oh, that Raw Underground is awful.
That's the only reason why I think he's going there is because he was on Raw Underground. And you don't like Raw Underground?
You like it?
I'm not gonna lie to you. I think it's just I don't think it's amazing, but
it's scripted UFC. or Fight
Yeah.
Club, whatever you want to call it. It's just
No, no,
I think
I
it's kind of
agree.
lame.
I agree with you. I agree with you, but it's also like, well, we kind of got nothing else. Like this is really the only interesting thing we have. Like Raw has turned to utter shit, unfortunately.
It's not really getting anyone over though.
You know, it was gonna get that dude over, then they fucking killed him. That
Yeah, so
guy,
I
Braun.
don't know what the point. I don't know what the point of that was. Honestly, I can't wait until that whole shit is over. Honestly, but I'm gonna put Braun Strowman's gonna be on Raw because Drew McIntyre doesn't have any challengers left, so they have to do something with the draft to give him more opponents. Like, because who else? The current Raw roster, who do they have? They have Randy Orton, who he's gonna be done with, and like I said, I think Randy's going to SmackDown. And then who else do they even have like as a credible
No
challenger? They have absolutely no one. They had him feud with Dolph Ziggler for how long, and now it's Robert Roode. They had him, have a top. That just shows you how they really don't have a lot of opponents for Drew McIntyre. That's why I would think it would be. I think SmackDown without the Fiend would be stacked already, but I don't think they're going to move the Fiend to Raw. But I think they should. But this is a prediction. This is a prediction, though, not what I want to happen.
Yeah, but even that wouldn't make sense. Why would you move him to Raw?
Yeah, because they could just have the Fiend win the Rumble and fight Drew anyway if they really want to do that. They can keep on SmackDown for now.
I don't think the Fiend is going to be a heel. I mean, I know he's a heel now with this whole attacking what's his face, Kevin Owens.
Yeah.
But I think he's going to be like a tweener,
like the Undertaker.
Yeah, I just think Kevin Owens is just unfortunately one of those bystanders who's getting his ass beat right now. I don't think I just don't see him, being a heel. I really think that fucking what's his face? I think he's gonna be babyface and eventually probably just fight Roman again.
Yeah. I think Sheamus is definitely going to Raw. I have a good feeling about that. I know he's feuding with Big E right now.
Dude, look, you just booked it right there. It's gonna be Braun Strowman, Sheamus going to Raw. Those are gonna be the two people he fights. That's it.
Yeah, definitely. I think as an annoying. Do you think King Corbin's staying on SmackDown?
He would. I mean,
I think he can move to Raw because he had this thing with Matt Riddle. He had his feud. He had a feud with Jeff Hardy already. Like, who else does he have on there?
No. He's going.
I think he's going to Raw. Yeah.
Because just like you have it right there, Drew McIntyre is the babyface, Roman's the heel. So Drew McIntyre would have Corbin, Sheamus, and Braun Strowman to fight, while Reigns is still fighting with Uso. They have Matt Riddle. They have Jeff Hardy. They have Big E. So they have Daniel Bryan whenever he decides to return, because I know he just recently had a kid. So you're 100% right. That's who's going to Raw. Holy shit, that's the fucking year we're gonna have going forward.
Yeah, and as far as predictions, like, those are the only things I'm really solid on. You know what I mean? But the thing, like, look at Raw though. After Drew McIntyre, who else do they have as a face?
Dominic.
But Dominic is that, like...
That
Dominic is not going to fight for the WWE Championship, is my point. I don't think that's going to work out, so I think they need to have a babyface. Like, what I would do, I'm not sure, like, where does AJ Styles fit on SmackDown after he lost the IC title? Like, now that he's out of the IC title picture, what's left for him? So I think they should. Like, never mind the whole Paul Heyman thing. I think that's just a load of shit. Like, like, obviously he doesn't like Paul Heyman, but, like, I don't think that's going to be the reason why they put him on Raw. But I think he would benefit. Give him something to do. Turn him babyface, first of all. I think he's done as a heel.
Really?
And, yeah, like, what else is there for... The both of the rosters, Raw and SmackDown, have too many fucking heels. Someone needs to turn face for a change. You know what I mean?
Well, who? I mean, if he turns face, though, like, what is he gonna do?
He can have a feud with. So after Sheamus gets his ass beat, he could. We've never seen AJ Styles and Sheamus before. We've never seen. Have we seen AJ and Strowman?
I don't. Maybe on like a regular match or something.
I'm gonna put AJ on Raw. That's my bold prediction. And I'm gonna also put Kevin Owens for SmackDown, even though you don't agree with that.
Imagine if they put him on Raw. It's like they just had him on Raw like 4 months ago, and now he's back. Whatever. I'd rather keep him on SmackDown. Turn him face. If you want to turn him face, turn him face there, have him fight Roman. I think
I
that
just
would just
think
be
I
a
think
lot
Roman
better.
has enough people leading to WrestleMania. When Daniel Bryan comes back, he can fight Daniel Bryan. Jeff Hardy's out of the picture. He can fight Jeff Hardy. The IC title picture, so he can fight Roman. They have so many people. Matt Riddle's an up and comer. They could have a little thing going on with him. Maybe not like a pay per view feud, but like a little thing they could do leading into a pay per view. So they have plenty of guys on the show that they could have him fight, and obviously, and the other main heel will be Randy Orton, and I guess the Fiend. I don't know exactly how that's gonna work, but that's what I think is gonna happen. Then as far as the women, I think Naomi and Nikki Cross are headed to Raw, because there's really nothing left for them on SmackDown. And I don't really know about NXT. I don't think anyone's gonna really come up from NXT. They had
Nah, I don't think anyone's coming up.
Slapdick and fucking T-Bar from Retribution. So those are the NXT guys. Yeah.
God, we gotta get to that after. Jeez.
Retribution. Oh yeah,
Oh, yeah.
Retaliation. That's Mia Yim. Is that no? Martinez's ring name. I don't even know.
Dude,
The Retaliation is the ring name. Yeah.
who the fuck knows? They're gonna be gone for 2 weeks because half of them, unfortunately, God forbid, but they all got in contact with someone who had corona. So it's like they're gonna be gone for 2 weeks now, and the Raw Underground's gonna be gone for 2 weeks.
One more thing I want to bring up as far as the draft is concerned, before we finish. Do you think they're going to split up the Miz and John Morrison?
No, there's literally no tag teams. There's no tag teams. Well, I think if they split them up, that's a really big mistake. I think they would probably go to Raw. That's what I'm saying. I'm saying all of the heels, like, so you have Miz and Morrison, right?
Mm-hmm.
Who else do you have on SmackDown? Who's the SmackDown champions? I don't even know.
Sami Zayn.
No,
the tag team.
The tag team champions.
Cesaro and Nakamura.
Okay, so they can't fight because they're both heels. So Miz and Morrison goes to Raw. New Day's out.
Yeah, they're not getting drafted.
Who else do they have? I don't even. Do they have any tag teams?
Heavy Machinery.
Heavy Machinery's out. Oh no! Excuse me, I'm thinking of Ivar and the other one. I mean,
yeah, it's bad.
Really, honestly, they should just say, listen, we're gonna have to unify some of these titles for the time being. Even if you don't do like a real unification or something, just be like the titles can be defended on both shows. Like, you got to do something, because it's one thing if the tag team division was just one division right now. It's
yeah.
Like, okay. Then
it would be okay. Yeah.
Yeah. Same thing with the women's and the women with the women's division, but it's like there's not enough people. You know, the Usos are out. New Day is out, which are two of your best tag teams. I'm forgetting their name. The dudes from New Japan are gone. They're gonna be out for like a year and a half. You know, you don't really have anyone. That's why I said Street Profits would be going to SmackDown, because if Shinsuke and Cesaro keep the titles, who are they gonna feud? The Street Profits will probably drop it and just go over there and feud with them immediately. Because didn't they get a win over Cesaro and Nakamura like a week or two ago?
They did, yeah.
Yeah, so that's how I see that running now. Like, Angel Garza and Andrade would finally get their W after the 57th time of fighting. And then after that, they'll go to SmackDown and say, oh, well, we beat you, so we'll get a shot. That's the only thing I could see happening. And even then, it's like, that's not really rustling my jimmies, because I saw the fucking match like 2 or 3 weeks ago, so who cares?
Yeah. I don't know, because either way, that doesn't sound really exciting. The tag teams.
Nothing really sounds exciting. Except everything Roman Reigns is doing.
Oh, absolutely. Can you imagine a year ago that we'd be saying that, or even like 3 months ago?
Fuck you! I always loved Roman. Fuck you. I would said that shit all the time.
But you have to admit, he's a lot better now.
I mean, he's only been like back for a month, so you just like him because he's a heel.
Maybe.
But that's the draft. Who knows what's gonna happen?